more situated, that are more suited to probably get him to where he wants to be. But I guess playing alongside Myles Garrett, but would do well. I mean, offensively, they can run the football with Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb. Baker seems to be on the come.
Yep.
Defensively, hey, I can see that skill, but I'm surprised the Browns, because historically the Browns haven't been a great free agent destination unless they overpay. You know, they did a great job of drafting Myles Garrett, but normally teams are not just like, man, yeah, free agency, yeah, I want to go to Cleveland. But it just goes to show you what he saw last year, that he believes that this team has a chance to be special. I was thinking maybe go pair up beside his brother, but maybe he thinks offensively they're a little, defensively, yeah, they're good, but offensively they're not where they need to be. Green Bay, you thought Green Bay skipped Wisconsin.
Home state.
Home state. Aaron Rodgers defensively. So I'm surprised that he's looking at Cleveland as opposed to some of these other teams that I think, but also Skip, fit 3-4, because J.J. Watt is a 5 technique, which is a 3-4 defense. So that's going to be very important to him as opposed to being bumped outside and playing on a 43 defensive end.
Okay, so to your first point, money talks. In the end, it's just all about
they say money talks, but cash screams. Yeah. And he wants lots of it.
Screaming, they got lots of it there. They also have a couple of free agents in that defensive line. Ogunjobi is one, and Olivier Vernon's another one. So they're going to have to figure all that out.
Yeah, one of them, somebody gone.
Somebody is gone.
Both of them might be going if they get J.J. Skip.
Okay, I agree. Okay, why not? Why wouldn't he jump on the opportunity to go to Pittsburgh? Maybe he doesn't want to play in his brother's shadow. Maybe it's like because he.
It sounds good at the time. Everybody like, I'm playing my brother, playing my brother. No, you don't.
But he's a star now, and you're a fading star.
Right.
I don't care what you say. You've been too beat up for too long.
I agree.
And yet, I did tell you your favorite website, Pro Football Focus, dropped him slowly but surely over the last 4 years, but only to 21st best defensive player last year. Well, he used to be 1 or 2.
Yes.
So, okay. But still, 21st in the league is pretty good.
Yeah, he didn't fall off a cliff.
Okay, so he still has enough left to give in a good rotation. Well, he'd be playing alongside of a guy who's pretty great, Myles Garrett, right?
So let me ask you a question, Skip. I mean, he gave you 5 sacks in 16 games last year.
Yep.
What's your expectations this year?
5 or 6, somewhere in there. But I was pleasantly surprised that he sees the Cleveland Browns as a real deal contender.
Right.
I do too. I kept telling you over the back half of the year, last 10 games, Baker Mayfield very quietly, which is not his way, but he very quietly came of age. He arrived. He played high-level quarterback for 10 straight games. I loved the way he played. He finally had something solid around him that he could trust. He had a coordinator and a play caller and a head coach he could trust who tried to do it the right way and in a way that you could depend on from week to week. And they do run the football, as you know, from it's from the Kubiak school of thinking, because he was kind of raised by Kubiak.
Yep.
Okay, so he said maybe he's sort of buying into all those progressive Baker commercials, like he's saying, hey, this kid's pretty cool. He's pretty hot.
You know, and the thing is that he's playing alongside Myles Garrett because for the longest time he didn't have. I mean, he had some of his best years when he had Jadeveon Clowney.
He did.
So now you got another guy that's going to get some of the attention, a lot more of the attention that you're going to get. So maybe he gets some more one-on-ones, and that total gets up to maybe 8.
Maybe.
Can he get 8 sacks?
He might be able to if he's just rejuvenated, change of scenery. Listen, that Houston, that's a mentally, psychologically debilitating place to play. Over the last 4 years, it's just gone down into a sinkhole.
Skip, think about this. Of their great players, none of them are going to officially retire. You look at Andre Johnson. He's one of the 5 best players. You look at J.J. Watt, one of the 5 best players. You look at D-Hop, one of the 5 best players. You look at Deshaun Watson.
Nobody's going to retire there. Something's really wrong. And it starts at the top with the McNair family. It has been going the wrong direction.
And I think we all thought J.J. Watt ain't going nowhere. J.J. Watt's going to be a Texan until perpetuity, until he says, hey, you know, I'm taking my cowboy boots and my hats and I'm going to the saloon. He was going to be a Texan. He's like, nah, I'm good.
He's good. And remember, they let him go.
Yes.
Right? And I'm sure they shopped him and couldn't get any takers. So they just said, okay, you can go.
Maybe the asking price was too high. But, Skip, because for the market to be as good as it is for him right now, it's hard to say somebody wouldn't give up at least a 4th-round pick for him.
Yep. I think he's smelling Super Bowl in Cleveland next couple of years. Okay? I'll ride that train.
But are you surprised that Cleveland's at the front of the list? If what the reports that we're hearing are true?
Sure.
I am too.
Shocked because it was never a free agent destination.
Ain't nobody said, man, I can't wait to get to Cleveland.
No.
In what sport have they ever said, man, Cleveland? Baseball, basketball, LeBron, even Go James couldn't lose free agents.
Could not. Agreed.
So.
Okay, can't wait to get to Cleveland. We'll end on that note. Is Tom Brady already recruiting more players to Tampa? A bit easier to welcome guys to Tampa. We'll share the latest next.
No mercy, no mercy, no mercy, and I won't.
Pro Football Focus is claiming Deshaun Watson may have had just one of the best seasons of any quarterback over the past 15 years. Watson played with a horribly ranked defense and running game. The star receiver, DeAndre Hopkins, was also traded away for almost nothing in return, and his coach was fired midway through the season. Despite all that, he still finished with the 19th best passing grade in the last 15 years. So, Shannon, how high would you rank Watson here?
Skip, probably top 5, top 6, but not number 1. Considering what Aaron Rodgers did, Skip, 48-5, 4,400 yards passing. You look at what Mahomes did. You look at what Brady did, obviously. Skip, I thought he had an unbelievable season, but we got to get out of this notion. If a guy doesn't have a top 5 receiver, that he doesn't have anybody. Brandon Cooks had over 1,100 yards, and he missed 1 game. William Fuller IV, Skip, would have had over 1,100 yards had he not gotten suspended. So he was about to have 2 guys over 1,100, possibly 1,200 yards. Now, Pro Football Focus, now we're going to take them what they're saying. He had the 8th best pass-blocking offensive line in football. Now, that's what Pro Football Focus is saying, and that's what we're basing this on, how we're going to critique Deshaun Watson. So we can't discount one while we take into account the other.
Yep.
So they graded him that high. And so let's give his offensive line the credit that they deserve. Running game, I got no problem with them saying this running game because David Johnson hadn't had a good year since he had that breakout season. Skip, what was that, 2016? He hasn't been that since then. Been hurt an awful lot. His running game was terrible. His defense was terrible. But he has weapons. Skip, all Brandon Cooks does is that wherever he goes, 1,000 yards receiving seasons following. He's in New England for 1 year, he got 1,000 yards. He's in New Orleans for years, he gets 1,000 yards. He goes to the Rams, he gets 1,000 yards. He goes to Houston, he gets 1,000 yards. That's all I know. William Fuller IV. Skip, I'm not saying the guy's Julio Jones or Tay Adams, but he's a good receiver. And Tom Brady, when the last time Tom Brady had a Pro Bowl receiver? A Pro Bowl receiver. I ain't talking about tight end, I'm saying a Pro Bowl receiver. And so, look, I think Deshaun Watson is unbelievable. I believe he's a top 5, top 6 quarterback. I really do. But to say he had the best season, so I want to know who he was throwing to as he led the league in passing yards. Skip, who catching the passes? Fans? Me? You? Jenny? I mean, you got to give the guys that he's played with some credit, Skip. I'm not saying they the upper echelon, but to try to dismiss William Fuller and to dismiss Brandon Cooks, I don't think that's fair.
Once again, I agree with Pro Football Focus. The harder I look at what Deshaun pulled off last year, it was the best season that any quarterback had last year on degree of difficulty. And they're making the case that if you rank it against other seasons by other great quarterbacks over the last 15 years, historically like 2007 Brady, record-breaking, that if you do the degree of difficulty, that Deshaun's achievement is right there with Brady's achievement, given what he was working without. So, to quote from the piece, absolutely nothing went the Texans' way last year. Deshaun played with terrible